Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Thursday, guys. Happy Thursday morning. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I got a word for you. Tapped in. Happy Thursday, guys. So I'm going to jump right in. I want to respond to an email. A young lady emailed me in regards to one of the recordings I made on yesterday. And in the comment section, I think I said something in reference to many times or most times, your career, your job is not your purpose or your calling. And she is an accountant, so she's in finances. She's been doing it for a very long time, I think 25 years to be exact. And she feels as if, well, she felt as if that had been her purpose and calling for a very long time. But now in this season, she feels like God is calling her elsewhere. She's more timid, a timid individual, more shy, so she really don't want to be thrust out there. She said she knows God is calling her in a certain direction, but she's kind of holding on for dear life and clinging to finances. So yeah, let's talk. So I want to hit it from a few different directions. You guys please chime in the comment section if you guys would love to add your opinions. Would love to hear from you guys. So, okay, sis, first thing first, I made sure I went back and correct myself in the comment section, because I think in the recording I had said something like your job or your career is not your purpose. So I made sure I went back to correct myself, because that's not always 100%. So I then changed it to sometimes, many times, even most times. But granted, I'm sure there are people who are in a job where it could be their purpose or their calling. I don't know. But I do know that many times we feel like because we've been doing something for a long time, and we may even love it, right? We love what we do. We tend to always want to say or think that is our purpose and our calling. Again, sometimes it can be, because I know without a doubt God have used me with the gifts He's entrusted me with within my career. Right? So there's been ways that He branches it off. But do I feel it's my ultimate purpose? No. Now, because I've been elevated to a different realm where now I can see how He's using me more. And don't get me wrong, right? In my healthcare, yes, I'm used. My God, I got a whole book around it. No plug, right? And it's very fulfilling. I absolutely love it. There's things I had to do within healthcare that I know without a doubt only I could have gotten it done, right? Being used as a vessel. So I'm not going to dismiss the fact that God can't use us for calling and things like that within our careers. But I'm speaking about the whole overall purpose. But I love how Pastor R.C. Blake's break purpose in calling down, because it evolves. Meaning, I don't think just one day you wake up and boom, you're in your full purpose, in your full calling. I think it evolves, because again, I've been used where I was, and then the higher I go, it's less of my job and now more of, let's say, public speaking, or just being behind the scenes with individuals who are more, public figures, things like that, right? And I'll break it down. But let's break it down. Let me give you an example with you. I'll use you. Okay, so you're an accountant, right? So someone who's really not tapped in enough, they would probably say something like, well, how is that being used for God? Because you're just an accountant. Where people have to understand that, again, everybody's not called to church. Everybody's not called to, be Bible thumping over people's head. God uses people in different ways. All right, so let's just say finances. God can send you somebody who need help with finances, because maybe He's calling them to start a nonprofit for homeless people, right? Just saying. And everybody else has turned these individuals away, or said, well, we can't help you because X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. But hey, God may send these people right to you in your office. And now, because you're spiritually connected, God will give you downloads and use you as a vessel to help these individuals when no one else would. But you see, it's still connected to what God needs to be done. Everybody doesn't have to be in the forefront. Now, if he's calling you to the forefront, that's different. But don't ever minimize the way that God uses you because it doesn't look like you're sanctified, holy individuals, respectfully. But you have to know that because society will try to make you think like you have to be on the pulpit. You have to, no. God uses people differently. This is why you got to be so tapped in that you're hearing from God yourself. And then when you hear from God yourself, you got to be so locked in on that thing because people try to change you or change what you heard or what you saw or what you read. You got to be locked in there. Now, all right. So that's how he can use you within your job. And it could branch off in more areas, but I'm sure you get the point. Now, if he is calling you from that, here's what I've experienced. He'll start to dry up. For one, he'll start to dry up your love for what you've been doing for a very long time. And then he'll also he'll start closing doors in that area. And you're just no longer fulfilled, right? You're going to do it because you know it. That's all you know, right? So you got to make a living. So you're going to do it, but it no longer fulfills you like it used to. So he'll start drawing certain things out when he wants to call you in a different direction. Now, I mean, it's your choice. Because like I always say, the calling is not a choice, but obedience is, right? Many people don't answer their call. It's your choice. But what I've experienced more than ever in this season, especially where we are now in these crazy days, God is not going to go back and forth with people about their calling. There's just no time for it. Right? Where maybe when we weren't in the last days and maybe when the world wasn't so crazy, I don't know. Maybe he could go back and forth with you, right? But I feel like in these days, either you're going to do it or you're not. I'm not going to beg you, right? If you don't move, I'll find somebody else. Trust me when I tell you, right? So if you choose, and I'm not saying this is what you're doing, I'm speaking in general here. If you choose to reject the call, whatever he's asking you, again, this doesn't mean he's calling you in church, just whatever he is asking you to do. If you reject that, you also reject blessings that follows obedience. So you're not only just missing and disappointing him with rejecting your call, you are rejecting your destiny. There are not going to be certain things going to be released to you because sometimes, a lot of times, if not all, blessings are really released to you for it to be used within your call. So God will give you overflow because you're in your purpose and your calling where he needs you to be, where you're reaching more people, etc., etc., etc. Or as my good sis Ivy said, God will even give people overflow to help people even find their own destiny, which is still God related. So you see how we can branch off? Now, granted, I know it can be fearful. Again, I think sometimes I know for a doubt with myself, people tend to think because they see me move a certain way or I speak with authority or whatever, they tend to think that I'm not fearful. Listen. You got time? Do you have time to sit down for lunch for about 5 hours so I can tell you some stories? So it's not that I'm not fearful in certain situations. I'm disobedient. So I allow my obedience to override my emotions. I personally believe that when God is calling us in purpose and calling, it's going to be, it's over our head. It's major. It may not start off major, right? He starts you off small, and that's why I always say obedience is important in the small things because he watches you, he elevates you, he watches you, he elevates you. And before you know it, I would venture to say, and I'm not saying that it's right, if you will, but it's just the way I see it and the way I feel. I feel like with visionaries, such as myself, it makes it easier to be obedient because you know what you're walking towards, right? God have already shown it to you. It's clear as day. So you know what you're walking towards. So it makes it easier to be obedient. But on the flip side, it's very, very overwhelming and frustrating because you see it and there's so much processing, so much learning, so much attacks, so much warfare to get there. But I do believe it makes it easier to move in obedience when you know what you're moving towards. So trust me, I have my moment. Matter of fact, I haven't got the release yet, but I'm currently in a season where I have to give a message to somebody who, the person is a public figure. And I knew I needed to give a message, right? But I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know how in detail it was until I had to really sit so I can get proper downloads, proper confirmations for over a period of time. And now it's like, all right, I'm ready for you to release this message. Oh, well, hold. Wait a minute. I ain't ready. I ain't ready now, right? But God knows when it comes to him, I'm fearless. Let me tell you something. God, when it comes down to certain things, God will target like those, what do you call those people who just would do anything? Like, again, I know some people are more quiet, more shy, more fearful. I'm just, listen, I'm going to get it done, period, right? If I got whatever, I'm going to move past this fear, but he knows I will do it. He knows I will say it. Trembling and all, I got to say it. I got to tell you. Because there's a good chance that people around you won't even tell you. Because they're too mesmerized by your money and your this and your that. Where, listen, I don't care about none of that stuff. Ever have. But at the same time, this person does have a very intimidating presence. And not bad, but just like, it's almost like you don't even feel like you have the authority to, but see that you only feel that way because you're seeing it if you were to say it and do it from yourself. But when it comes down, when you're moving in spirit, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the person is and what they have. And it doesn't matter. God is choosing you to relay a message or whatever, however he uses you, to an individual who he know most people won't. So, but I've done it so many times. And see, that's the whole purpose. The smaller things, because I've had small downloads. I just had to maybe say like a little quick word about this, that, right? I didn't want to say it, but I said it. And then the person's like, wow. Oh, wow. You don't even know me. So I know God, right? So it started off small. But when you see the reactions and the confirmations from the people, then that alone gives you a sense of confidence each time. So it starts small, right? And there's so many other different times I've had to give words to public figures, and just to see how they're blown away proves that the very people around them who are idolizing maybe their money or idolizing them or just, listen, when it comes down to celebrities and public figures and things like that, it can be very intimidating to people who are not tapped in spiritually. Because see, I don't know. Let's think about, I won't call any names, but I'm just saying in general. Let's think about a celebrity. Okay, who do they have? They have to have assistants around them, right? They have security around them. They have, let's just say, accountants around them, right? They have a number of people around them. But these people work for them. So it's almost like I can't really rub you the wrong way because, first of all, I work for you. I don't get fired, right? Uh, then also it's just very intimidating because in the fleshly, you feel like, wow, I'm not even deserving to be in this room because they maybe have millions of dollars and listen. When you get up in these rooms, you realize that these people got the same kind of problems as you. As a matter of fact, most of them got worse problems than you. But when God can get you to the point where you don't see them as the celebrity, because they're regular people. The spotlight is just on them. So when God can trust you to kill your flesh, where the room don't change you, but you go in there and change the room by delivering a word, or I don't know, you might be a singer, right? They're trying to get you to sing some, I don't know, Cardi B, but you want to sing gospel, and you know God is telling you to sing some Tasha Cobbs, but what are you going to do? Now you see all these people who maybe you're intimidated by because you think they have everything. You're going to sing Cardi B if you're not tapped in. Cardi B and Tasha Cobbs is not even a parallel. I don't even know where that came from, but whatever. You get my point. God is using fear for people. I don't know anybody who, personally, who I've never heard say that they were fearless when it comes down to everything they're doing in purpose. Now, granted, some things come naturally. Some things flows easy. There's a lot of factors involved. When you're talking to the person, are they spiritually connected enough, right, where they can receive it? Like that's how it was, I said, with Pastor John Gray. He was so spiritually open, right, because God's timing is everything. So the word that God had me to deliver, he received that word, and it was all over his spirit. I knew he received it. I didn't really want to tell him whatever. And it was nothing bad. Let me be clear. It was nothing bad at all. But it was just not in the right environment. I thought so. I just wanted to have fun. Now, you can meet an individual who their spirit could be closed off for different reasons. Let's just say another celebrity, for example. With a celebrity, many times they're very guarded because, think about it, most people come to them wanting something, trying to sell them something, trying to present themselves to be something that they're not. So they will be, some will maybe be more closed off. And then it's harder for them to receive, but it doesn't matter. Your job is to do your part. So once you deliver what you have to deliver, and I haven't experienced that yet, but I'm just saying in general, your job is to deliver what God tells you to deliver. Then God will then confirm or do whatever he wants once you're out of the way. But you got to still be obedient to what he's asking you to do, fearful or not. Another issue, you can have public figures or just anybody that God is using you to relay a message, but they're running from their call. They know God is calling them higher. And again, that doesn't mean the pulpit, right? But whatever. They know God is calling them higher, but now it's still that fear of, but I've been doing this all my life. How am I going to feed my family? Not even knowing, honey, you follow God, honey, God's going to multiply what you could have ever made on your own. But it's still fearful. So it will be harder to receive too. You receive it, but you're rejecting it. But you got to do what God tells you to do. Because at a point in time, all that stuff will just tie in together in X, Y, and Z. So you can't even really worry about if the other person's going to receive it, what their reaction is going to be. You can't. You just got to move and do what God tells you to do, and then just trust that. And you will see, listen, you will see the fruits of your obedience. And then you go higher and higher and higher and higher because God knows he can use your crazy. But who was the crazy person in the Bible? One of my friends was telling me about that. She told me I remind her of that person. Was it Peter? You guys know I'm just kind of like new and still trying to understand the Bible. I think it was Peter. Who's Peter? The one who just go and do whatever God tells him to do. I think it was Peter. Like, I'm Peter. Right? Call me Peterlicious, because let me tell you something. If God tells me to do it, I'm going to do it. I got a firm revelation this morning. And I'm like, Lord, I got to deliver this message. But I'm going to do it. Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. just wanted to share that with you guys. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, to summarize, no, your purpose and your calling does not have to be your job. Sometimes it is, and then if it is, God will use you, within the job, and then you will graduate. He'll start to drive things up because he wants you to try different directions. Also different seasons. You can be. It's ultimately your purpose is ultimately like kind of the same, but you're called in different seasons, in different directions, and then ultimately, I believe it just involves to, But what can we do? All we can do is take one step at a time. So let's just pray about it. Ask him, again, if he's calling you someplace else, don't be afraid. Take a step, because if it's not the right direction, he'll shut it down. He will. He won't let you get too far out. He'll wind your butt back in like a fishing rod, and then you try something again, and you just keep trying. So till you strike. What is it? Strike water? Strike wood? I don't know. You guys have a great one.